Hi, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of By the Drip. This podcast is about coffee, entrepreneurship, and the people we meet through the amazing story of coffee. I'm your host, David Crosby, founder and CEO of ROSSO COFFEE ROASTERS. Today's guest is Samuel Ronzon. He's a coffee producer in Veracruz, Mexico. Samuel is one of the most innovative coffee producers we know. Co-hosting this episode with me is Cole Terode from Forward Coffee. In today's episode, we talk about Sammy's start in the coffee industry, traceability for producers, experimental coffees, the Ferm-Zilla, the benefits of a diversified farm, and finally, the struggles Sammy and other coffee producers face. It was a great conversation with Sammy, and I hope you enjoy it too. So, hi, Sammy. How are you?
Fine, thanks, amigos. Muchas gracias.
Thanks for joining us. We're actually drinking your coffee right now. Delicious. So if you could maybe tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do for a living.
Okay, since I was a child, I have been contacted with the coffee. You know, my grandparents had farms, and the coffee was processed into parchment coffee because we only made washed coffee. In 1996, together with my dad and his brother, we have a run mill, which we work at the family farms, the family coffee, and also bought some cherries coffee from the region, you know, Coatepec, Jico, and processed it to do green coffee. All this coffee we sold to big companies in Veracruz. In 1997, I wanted to export directly wherever I can do it. It is because this was really hard, you know, it was difficult, but was a really, really big experience for me. So for economic reasons, I decided to abandon the coffee. It was until 2017 when I come back to the coffee, but now with another perspective, you know, changed my mind, but we need to wait for almost 20 years, you know.
So going back to 1996, you're working with your father and your uncle, your tío, and economic reasons are restricting you from continuing in coffee. Can you maybe tell us what did coffee look like back then? What did the market look like back then? I mean, I would call you a visionary today in the way that you produce coffee. And you just mentioned you wanted to sell directly, in 1996. Was that a thing in Mexico?
Yeah, I think the principal problem was because we don't understand the coffee. We don't understand the business because we only think about produce more coffee for sell more coffee. The quality was not the priority, of just the quantity, you know. A lot of coffee, but maybe don't understand the coffee, the quality, the region, the origin. So one of my big mistake maybe was never cupping the coffee in that case. You know, people who work with us was the curator or something like this. You know, the person, but me particularly, never cupping the coffee in that case. No? We have a lot of coffee. My grandfathers had coffee. By my case particularly, never cupping the coffee, never understand the coffee. It's a lot of. This is one of the reasons. Another reason was we sell all the coffee to another company. This company put the price in our coffee because this is. I think the sell coffee to our another big companies. It's sometimes difficult, you know, because you need to be control on the producers, on the quantity, the quality, all of this. So in that moment, we don't understand this part. We mix the coffee, some coffee from Jico, coffee from Coatepec, from some different varieties, etc., etc. No? So we lost the control about this one. So probably the quality was not the better, maybe it was unstable, you know. We have a credit for the bank credit, and this credit was in US dollars. So in that moment, changed the dollar. We had a big problem with the credits, you know. There's a lot of problems, economics problems, sometimes like this one. So the first thing thought was the coffee is not a business. The coffee is a big problem. Yeah, because I don't understand the coffee. So I think many things less that was my fault. Don't understand the coffee or the industry. Or I never meet some consumer or never talk about the quality and never talk about the quantity or the reason why they bought our coffee. So all of these problems changed my mind 20 years after that.
So, growing up, did you always envision yourself being in the coffee industry, or did you want to branch out and do something other than what your family had always done?
Yeah, in that moment, I abandoned the coffee because I think the problem was don't understand the responsibility of the producer. It's not only produce coffee and sell coffee. It's understand all things, all the natural things, all of this part of the chains because we are a chains. But we need to do what is the work of each part of this chain. If you don't know, very difficult to understand what are you doing for the chains. No? So in that moment, I was very young. And maybe I don't understand this part, and I abandoned the coffee, and I went to another part of Mexico. I went to Tijuana for looking for a different job. It's different job, nothing to about coffee, nothing about cows, nothing about all my life living in Jico and Coatepec, and all my life live with cows and chickens, horses, wherever. And in that moment, I left this part and I went to Tijuana and for looking something different, something like industry, something different. So when I was in Tijuana, I understand many things about the country, and I saw the difference between the part of the country and the producer and the consumer because all the things I need to eat, I need to buy, and in Tijuana, no? So different. So it's one of the reasons.
You moved from Veracruz to Tijuana looking for a new job, a new opportunity not related to coffee.
Yes.
And you end up finding how important what you were doing in Veracruz was by living in Tijuana. Is that kind of what I got there?
Yeah, when I was in Tijuana, always the coffee found me. It was funny, really, because I work in a company, a big company from the name is Cemento Zapasco. Many people say me, you are from Veracruz. Do you sell coffee? No, do you have coffee? Oh man, no. Something like this. Always the coffee. Many people told me about the coffee from Veracruz. No? Or many people in Tijuana, their dreams was have a farm or have a cows or have something like this. And they said, man, this is crazy. I don't know why you want to be a producer. No, I am running about. I am abandoning that. So Tijuana really changed my mind because many people missing the farm, missing the coffee, missing the plants. And I said, maybe something is wrong with me, but all the people that work with me, they are missing that part of their life. So just many things, in so many times, I found coffee in my life, no? Because I miss coffees, I miss eat something from my land. So when I was in Tijuana, I know the part of the wineries, the Valle de Guadalupe, all this part that they make, that are make wines. So all of these friends love their country, love the land, take care of about all of these things because they changed many things about this part of the world. They feel really great producers for wherever wine, tomatoes, strawberries, whatever. And I need that part. I need to be fine about my origin, my land, my coffee, my family. So was very important for me. That's part. Tijuana makes me change my mind about my origin, my land, my family, wherever.
Interesting. Could you maybe tell us, Dave and I have never been to Tijuana. Could you tell us a little bit about Tijuana as a city? It's very close to California. Is it very Americanized in comparison to Veracruz, to Jico or Coatepec?
Yeah, it's so different. Tijuana is at the corner of Mexico. It's near to San Diego, near to California, and it's so curious because all of the products are from the center of Mexico. Veracruz, Oaxaca, or Guadalajara, whatever. Because Tijuana is for trading things because it's the border. One of the most important border in Mexico. I think in the world. Economical, it's very important for Mexico, but you need to about all the products in Mexico, in the center of Mexico, but many people that live in Tijuana work in San Diego or work in LA or wherever. They live in Mexico and they work in USA. So all of this part changed many things because I can understand the coffee sometimes because in Tijuana I drink coffee from another countries like Colombia, like Panama, like Ethiopia. So many coffees from another countries. I can understand, I can tasting, I can cooking, I can drink because the border is possible to bring coffees from another countries. It's not, but this is not happening in Mexico. It's not happening in Veracruz because it's not too easy. So many things of this changed my mind because this is a coffee from Ethiopia. Wow, this is coffee. So this changed my mind. This is one of the things thanks to Tijuana changed. All the food is not only traditional food because we are many people from another state of Mexico. So in Tijuana changed many things about the opportunity, about tasting, about flavors. A lot of people from US change your mind, because it's a big community. It's a lot of people from another. It's not so traditional like Jico or Coatepec. It's a beautiful place. I know, I love it, but we always do the same thing, Something is not good because you always taste the same coffee or the same food, the same flavors. So you don't change your mind. When you are out and you're tasting a lot of flavors, you can change your mind.
So maybe you can give us an idea of how far is Tijuana from Veracruz?
Yeah, it's almost 3 days for driving. Yeah, because I drive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's 3,500 kilometers. We are in the Gulf of Mexico, and Tijuana, it's in the corner near to the Pacific Sea, near to San Diego. It's almost 4,000 kilometers.
So 3 hours by plane, 4 hours by plane?
Yeah, 4 hours almost. Yeah.
So how are you managing when you go to the farm? Are you going on weekends during harvest? Can you maybe speak to what that looks like?
Yeah, I remember when I stay in Tijuana, when I come to Veracruz again, I see different green, all green and so different because I see the opportunities in each part of our life, because we have coffee, but we have some neighborhoods that have cows or goat or chicken, and we can mix all of these products for obtain better conditions for our farm. For example, we have a lot of water. It's not a problem. Sometimes we in Veracruz say, "Oh, it's a problem. We have a lot of water." So in that place like the north of Mexico, they need water. We have a lot of water. We have a lot of fruit trees. So changed many things because now all the things I see in Veracruz, I see an opportunity to produce or to consume or to obtain something about for our farm, because the family farms are in the high mountain region in the center of the state of Veracruz, It's the center of Veracruz. So it's really communicate to Mexico City. We are 4 hours to Mexico City. We are 1 hour to Veracruz port. We are really near to all of this part of the Mexico. All the farms are 40 minutes around Jico, for maximum 1 hour. This is amazing opportunity, All the farms are maximum 40 minutes. It's amazing. So, but I don't see that. I don't see this a lot of work. No, we are really near to all of this product, all of this process. So we can go to the farm and we can back to sleep in your house, for example. You don't need to many things. All of these things are really opportunity. When I changed my mind from Tijuana, not just to come Veracruz, I went to Chiapas, I went to Oaxaca, and I see owner conditions in Mexico. And look at it, we are really lucky about the conditions in our farms, particularly Veracruz. I know Chiapas has amazing coffee, Oaxaca, Guerrero, yeah, I know that. But the conditions in Veracruz are really great for this logistics, for all of these things. So I changed that many things in the farm. When in 2017, when I come back again, I see that I know that the Mexico City was only 4 hours from the house. It's really near. We can change the opportunity for looking market or for looking clients or for looking information. So because we are near, all of these things change my mind. And I go to Tijuana. Tijuana was important for me because many things. I sent samples from Tijuana and I crossed the border for San Diego and checking the coffee with some friends in San Diego for understand the coffee. This was important for me because many samples that I have, I checking with another person, with another country maybe for a lot of experience for change, for obtain information about the process, about the coffee, wherever. Veracruz is not too easy because maybe we are always in the same place, the same flavors, the same. So well, I thought about the farm. Now we create. When I come to Mexico, I remember the family farms, my grandfather's farms, and I want to be one farm. My new farm, it's a project. It's a really great project because it's beautiful, but it's near to Ishuacán de los Reyes. The elevation is 1,420 meters. It's very rainy and very humid, but for the coffee it's perfect. The ecosystems are mountain forest, mesophytic forest. It's amazing place that we have now 20 varieties of coffee, which are distributed by lots, in order to maintain the management of these needs of each varieties. And we design the diversified shape with few trips like avocado, lemon, orange, macadamia, passion fruit, lychee, some forest trees like oak, pine, liquid amber, and another native trees. This is because we want to create the best microclimatics conditions because we like and we seek environmental conservation, social security, and food research. Because the community in general, I think all of this is really really great.
Okay, we got a lot to talk about here, Sammy. You've said a lot of really interesting stuff that I can tell Dave is itching to ask you questions.
Okay.
So how big is your farm? And then you're also help managing other farms around you as well?
Yeah. Okay. My farm is the total is 14 hectares. It's big. Now I change for lots, because not all is. I have forests. I have mesophytic forest, and actually I have only 8 hectares from with coffee, but all the land is 40 hectares.
And 8 hectares are planted right now with coffee. You have 20 varieties?
Yeah, because we are uh, proving the varieties. We need to check the varieties, and where they are adapted, we can move to another place because we need to check all of this part of the land. For example, I like Bourbon, Caturra. It's my favorite plants. Caturras, Bourbon, Maragogipe. I think it's my favorite. But we have some from another great people like Jameson Savage. We have geishas from Jameson, or geisha from Colombia, Diego Samuel, and Pepper Huello. So they give me some seeds, and we are proving these seeds in our land. We need to prove and move to another place for adapting, for checking, because it's another plant. So it is one of the things I doing right now.
So in your microclimate, how I guess which varietals are doing best you see, and which ones are struggling?
Yeah, we need to, for example, with the varieties, we are distributed by lots because we need to check in the all of this part, because they need to adapt them to our soil or climate, or this is all of this part is not too easy sometimes for the plants. For example, I see the varieties are from Veracruz. For example, the Bourbon always adapted so really quickly, because they have a lot of they have for this land. I love traditional varieties like Bourbon, Maragogi, and Caturra, because we have a great responses of these varieties to our soils, because thanks to the origin, they are usually plants that we bring from another family farms, and we plant them. When we have plants or seeds from another varieties from another country, we need to wait for adaptation for all of this part of it. I remember your question about it's hard or it's difficult, or is what is the best part for being a coffee producer. I think it's not difficult, it's complex, because we need to understand that my work is with the nature, it's not against nature. We need to understand the nature.
You can't predict it. You have to adapt with it the same way that your coffee has to adapt to the land. You as well need to adapt to the land as a coffee producer.
Exactly. You need to. I think this, because work in the country, or to being a coffee producer, it's not difficult. It's complex because we need to understand my work. It's with nature, against it. Of course, we have challenge and situation out of control, like rain, ice, wine, whatever. But all of these things is a lot of information, knowledge. We need to observe and learn every day. What happened in my farm, in my place, for understanding the plants. Always something to do.
Always something to do. So do harvest has started for you in Veracruz. Do you live in Veracruz the entirety of the harvest and then in Tijuana for the remainder of the year? Or how do you choose to split your time to best, understand the land and work with nature? Is there somebody year round that is managing the farm as you go between Tijuana and Veracruz, or maybe can you speak to that?
Yeah, before this year, that was my life. I stayed on the harvest in Veracruz, and after that, I went to TGA for sell the coffee, for cross the border, for checking samples, for politics. Now, my Gloria, my wife, is studying a PhD, and we are doing something experiments in the farm. We need to stay in Veracruz because we have a lot of work with the PhD, because it's about coffee, about fermentation. So we stay now for the next 5 years, maybe, just in Veracruz, and maybe when I need to go to Canada.
We'll plan that trip.
Yeah,
You got to come during winter though,
yeah,
and then we'll come to Mexico in the summer.
Yeah, I think that it's very important to be near to our customers, our clients, because all of this, I need to know what happened with the coffee, with my coffee in another place, with another people, with another conditions. And it's not only produce coffee and sell coffee. I need to know what happened with the coffee. It's because this is very important. This is the secret maybe, because produce coffee, sell coffee, but understand the coffee, tasting the coffee, and talk with the people that consume or use your coffee for
And this is going back to the beginning of our dialogue in 1996 when you were producing coffee with your dad and your uncle. This was the element that you did not have that maybe led you to feel coffee wasn't a career profession for you, and now coming back to coffee, that's really important for you to understand how the coffee is being used and where each micro lot is going and what purpose it's serving in the market.
Yeah, yeah, because I think now, because I changed my mind and I have seen how roasters and barista are so, disciplined, informed people. And that motivates us and force us to being conscious and informed producers. We need to change our minds. It's not only producer and sell, and you need to understand the industry. So in 1996, I only sell coffee, but maybe don't understand the coffee. Now it's different. I sell something part of my life. This is part of my life, and I want to change, be part of my life with another people, with another part of the life of the world. It's so different. Maybe it's more philosophic, but really, I like this because it's something that I do and I enjoy doing it, and I like to sharing with another people that it's very important for me right now. It's different. It's part of my life. It's part of my grandfather's life. So it's different. It's more philosophic life maybe, but it's really great.
Could you tell us a bit what your life looks like during the harvest? Maybe, what time does your day start, and what do you get up to during the whole day?
Okay, so in the harvest, we always I going to the farm first because we need to see the plants, and we all the is the what which part of the farm is collecting right now, because one of the first exercise that we do was checking the difference between each part of that farm, each lot of that farm. So for me, it's very important to go to the farm to check in the cherry beans, bring to the mill, and after process is because we do some experimental process. The experimental process depends of the variety and the part of the land. It's a lot of information because we have really once opportunity a year for checking process, because we have only one harvest a year. This part of this when it's harvest, we need to prove some experimental process or some process for doing more coffee like that, like this profile.
The day in the life of Sammy when the harvest is going on. So you're obviously you start at the farm and then you're picking cherries during the day, and then in the afternoon, are you processing the cherries? Like, what does the full day look like?
Traditionally, for one day of on the farm, we in this moment we are planning all the process. We are checking, we are writing something experimental process, and we need to check when the harvest start. All the coffee what we sell, we always keep one sample for checking that samples for the next harvest. I try to repeat that process. So we need to check in all the conditions that we process that coffee for. Maybe this year change or repeat that process. So that we start this project like La Joya micromill. We start really, it's really young, because when I understand that the coffee it's amazing product because change every day maybe, or if you change something of that part, the process, fermentation or the drying or something, the coffee changes. So we need to keep information. We need to check information. We need to take notes about this process. And before the harvest start, we need to planning the process, and we need to check with this process with each lot of the farm for looking the best process for each lot and maybe for each variety. It's a lot of work usually because we have 20 varieties, but now we are producing only 5. only 5 varieties are producing. The another 15 baby plants right now. So, but we need to understand the process for each lot, for each variety. So we need to prove our process.
And maybe Sammy, this is a great time to speak about Gloria, about your wife and her studies and how maybe she inspires you or motivates you to see coffee with a different perspective.
Absolutely, Gloria Joji. It's amazing. It's amazing part is the heart of this project, because they changed my mind about the coffee process, about how changed many things about, because she is very disciplined about everything that we do. So maybe because she is, how do you say chemistry? Is clinical chemistry?
Chemistry?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So she's very disciplined about that. So we need to note everything about the process, checking many things, the temperature, the humidity, all the information for understand the process. And for we I do something experimental, we need to do something for control. We need to do something for checking what things are you changing about the process, if something is similar or see really is changing something. So she is the brain of this project. Now she is studying a PhD about fermentation because we know that we need to understand all this universe. It's not only for sell, it's just for understand what we're doing, because finally the coffee it's part of a life, but it's a food. It's not just a product, it's food. It's very important to be healthy, to be really clear, and we need to be responsible with the coffee because some people put your experiment in their mouth, on it's very important. The really things. So she inspired me. She changed when I'm no. Let me. No, I was thinking about because she is not from family coffee producers, but she loves coffee. But this is important because he has another way to see
Perspective.
things, because he's different, because she is not from traditional families from coffee. This is important because she has another perspective about the coffee. And this is very important for me because change many things. When you grow in the coffee, sometimes you think that you know everything. That's a big mistake. You don't know anything. But when you grow in the coffee, I understand right now.
By the Drip is sponsored by ROSSO Coffee Roasters. You can check out the home coffee plan subscription on the website ROSSOCoffeeRoasters.com. This week's coffee subscription is from none other than Samuel Ronzon. We are drinking Lot 9BT, which is a natural processed coffee, and it's 80% Red Bourbon and 20% Typica. I just finished a cup, and to me, it tastes like plum, chocolate wafer, and red apple. Sign up now and enjoy sipping on some of Samuel's coffee while listening to my chat with him. How awesome is that? Cole, maybe you can talk about your relationship with Sammy, how you met, and then I guess Ford's relationship with Sammy and what's going on in 2021 and 2022.
Sure. Yeah. Before I get to that, I'm going to ask Sammy, I got another question for you regarding processing, if that's okay.
Okay.
So you use the word experimental, and a lot of your processing falls into the category of experimental because of the trials that you're doing for Gloria, for Georgie, for fermentation, and to understand what is happening with the coffee. I'm curious, of the coffees produced at La Joya, how much of that would you categorize as experimental?
So how much?
How much of your production at La Joya would you categorize as experimental? Is it 50%? Is it 80%?
Okay, experimental actually are 20% experimental, 20% because many plants are new, many varieties are new, So we are need to prove these plants for the process. So the rest, we have three lines for the La Joya. We have three lines. The classic lines is basically is wash coffee. This coffee is always from family farms, the traditional process, wash traditional process. And we have the experimental line. These always are always nano lots because we experiment process or ways to try or etc. And after we found some experimental that like it or is, I try to replicate. In this line is HEMA line, it's not experimental because we are repeat that process in a big high volume, more coffee, for more coffee, and this is the line. So the project is maintain almost 20% experimental, but we because we understand that part for is the is one of the reason for us for understand the coffee, because sometimes the
Right.
nanolots are very interesting, but no, not always are good. Sometimes doesn't work. It's part of the experiment, we sometimes change the profile or doesn't work or whatever. There's sometimes situations that happen when you are experimenting.
So when you're designing a process,
Yes.
you have an idea for a new type of experiment. How long does that take to design? What sort of work goes into building a new fermentation style or choosing to use different inert gases to pressurize tanks? How does that process work?
Joji likes read a lot, she loves read books about whatever fermentations or the process. So sometimes right now we are checking almost 10 new process for checking in this harvest, for example, in this changing some conditions about fermentation facility, CO2, maybe nitrogen, some gases, something different, and change some things in the way to dry the coffee. So usually plan for 2 months before the harvest start because we need to change many things. We need to check if we have all the things that we need to do to need for process like tanks, like gas, whatever. We need to plan it, and we need to know what we're waiting for. I think if do something like this, maybe I can obtain. We need to checking. We need to plan. We need to read about for reduce the risk because it's a risk. Always is a risk. But we need to learn. We need to plan. Of course, sometimes something happen because the client, the variety is something. Just put the coffee, checking the coffee, and check the conditions because we need to understand what happened. If you don't control or you lost control in one part of the process.
Is there some sort of specific goal in mind to deem an experiment a success? Like, is it purely cup quality?
Yeah.
Or are there other factors involved to say that, this year this fermentation worked and we will do this again next year as one of our gems?
Actually, we have three coffees are the favorites for me. One Bourbon. I remember the lot 45 is maybe was amazing lot, and the conditions were very very specific, so difficult that I can repeat again. This is more temperature, so it is one lot I would like to repeat, but it's one of the difficult lots. So, I remember one lot is not for me; it's from some friend gives that lot was from Brazil. I remember Bourbon Amarillo was amazing Bourbon Amarillo, really really very clear, really juicy. It's amazing coffee, Bourbon Amarillo. My plans for Bourbon Amarillo really are new, so I would like to practice. I would like to find that profile, but I don't have enough bourbon right now. It's only nanolots, but it's amazing. And another process I would like to find it's coffee. Like sometimes I do experiment with the caturas, and the profile was really similar to the gush gush, but it was catura, but the profile was similar to a gush gush, and I would like to understand why happened that. This were really amazing. That coffee really unique. Like umami, the flavors was really weird, but I like, and I try to understand what happened in that process, and I try to repeat this process. It is my three goals actually in the process. Joya has another three goals for for the coffee, and another things I like is the preservation of the coffee a long time with that process. No? Sometimes you do some coffees and the preservation of the flavors along maybe 1 year, 2 years. It's very interesting process. It's very interesting what happened. The flavor maintain or is one of the experiments that we can do right now. We are keeping some samples from another lot for checking what happened 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe until 5 years ago.
Which I think is so interesting because coffee traditionally is a fresh crop product that we want to drink as soon as possible. But if we look at other industries, fermentation is used as a preservation technique. And that's historically where it came into, for beer and kombucha and cheese and all of these different products. And all of a sudden fermentation is prominent feature in coffee, which is very much being pushed and developed by yourself and Joya and other like-minded coffee producers. But it's a new thing in specialty coffee, and I'm personally so curious to know how it's going to potentially elongate the shelf life and stabilize flavors for a longer period of time. Your coffees, you reference lot 45 from the 1819 crop. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you sent me a sample of that coffee this year, and it was the best coffee on the table, or amongst the best coffees on the table, which
normally wouldn't happen.
That caught me by surprise, and it was still very aromatic. It was still very flavorful. The flavor was clear. It was complex. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting to see, I think, the work that you're doing and the work that is happening at La Joya and the impact that is having on the global coffee ecosystem.
Thank you. I think one of these parts I love is the relation that we create with collaboration that companies like you, like they forward, because we know what happened with our coffees, because if it doesn't happen, I don't know. I sell your coffee and you keep me informed about the coffee. This is amazing. This is great for us because we understand what happened. The coffee we stay in another part of the world, the conditions, whatever. So I think this is one of the best part of the specialty coffee because you are near. It's a collaboration, It's really a great collaboration because you keep informed. It's not just sell coffee. I know it's a business, I know that, but this is different, It's a collaboration because we understand many things. That it's information. Thanks for the opportunity. Really, it's a great collaboration for us because sometimes for Mexico it's a challenge for us sell microlots or nanolots. It's really a challenge. Now it's so different because we can do that.
And why do you think it is a challenge for Mexican coffee producers to sell microlots or nanolots?
Because we need to understand that we need to establish a collaboration near to another companies who sell that coffee. Because sometimes when you do a nanolot or microlot in Mexico, you need to sell that coffee a big company for export. Because not many people is exporter. The people is only producer, and another part of the chain is exporter. Sometimes that exporter need to be more coffee for being a container or something. No? So that's nanolots. Sometimes lost in the big quantity, or sometimes it's not possible to checking where is exactly that micro lot or that lot. This is one of the reasons it's so difficult sometimes for directly the nano lot or the micro lot. Many times you need to sell to another company for consolidate.
Do you think it also has to do with just the scale that Mexico produces coffee, and maybe there's an image in the world that Mexico is a commodity coffee producing country and not focused on specialty? Do you think there's some sort of consumer, made up image there?
It's a great question. I think in my case, I understand the specialty is a specialty way to life. It's not only the way. It's not only produce coffee. How do you produce coffee? It's not only produce better coffee. No, it's better conditions for everyone. It's not only coffee qualified by points. So I understand the protocols, no? But I think the specialty is more like a specialty conditions for everyone in that part of the chain. It's for me. It's not only it's more coffee. It's better coffee. Not necessarily. You need to change many things. In my case, works the land. Change your mind about how do you take care of about the land, the people who works with you, because this is another part very important, the condition that the person works with you, because we are a company, not only producer, we are a company. It's not important if you are bigger or small producer, you are a company. So you need to change some things and you need to give better conditions for everyone. And when you do that, you know this not to it's not easy, but it's really appreciated for another people that you are changed your mind and you are changing the condition for all the community, and you are, because we are a community really. So it's not only people, it's plants, animals, whatever. So this is the specialty for me. It's not only 90 points. That is, I understand the 90 points or whatever, but I think it's more than that, more than just a protocol.
Right. You want to achieve the best cup quality. You want to get the best yield out of your plants, but you also want to support the people that are supporting you in that mission, in that vision. The employees, your community, your family. It's more than just about the cup of coffee. It's how the trade of that coffee impacts everybody involved.
Right. Yeah. It's very difficult to obtain great coffee if you have a plants that are not healthy. It's not healthy plants. You don't have healthy plants. It's really difficult to obtain a great coffee, for example. No? If you don't have, you need to be part. It's all the parts. It's especially all this. You know that. Another. For me, works to follow some projects, amazing projects like Jamison in Finca Deborah, or many people in Panama. It's really, really a great example for us. But it's not only the price. The price is a consequence of a really, really great work. It's how they change the industry, how they change their mind for change of this. And many people in the world doing something like this. And sometimes happen in Mexico is one of problem. Only look that you are doing or your neighborhood, but we are a big company, a big community. You need to understand what are doing, what things are doing some another people in that industry.
Is there a new experiment you're excited for the next harvest?
Yeah, many surprise because now Joya is reading a lot. I'm worried about that. I'm reading about I think I'm pretty sure, because this new harvest we have some varieties that are, for example, the Maragogipe. It's one coffee. I think is amazing, and some yellows Bourbon, small, is maybe nanolots, but I think this coffee was amazing coffee for this year.
We're currently drinking, Dave and I have 2 coffees in front of us that we've actually just finished. They are both yellow Caturra Amarillo. They're from the Ferm-Zilla.
Yes. The yellow caturra,
And
yellow caturra was amazing. This particular lot that you have in yellow caturras, is really, really young plants. They have only 2 years. It was when, because I checked when we changed the management of the land, the plants really, really produce very, very soon, And when I put the coffee in the Ferm-Zilla, the smell, they smell really great, really amazing, really juicy, and I like the density. I like the density of this coffee. And I really like because it's really, really young, and I think this year was important for the yellow caturra. I think the yellow caturra is one of my favorites too. But especially because that plant, that seed, was from my mother's father, grandfather. How do you say? It's my abuelo materno.
from your grandfather?
Yeah, mother's grandfather. The seeds are from his farm, and I love it. The CO2 changed some things, and I think this is the best part of the Ferm-Zilla, because we can keep the CO2 we can observe what happened with the beans, and I like it.
Can you explain what it goes into, what the cherries go into?
The Ferm-Zilla, the tank itself?
Yeah, when put the cherries bean in the tank in the Ferm-Zilla, I remember when I put the cherries, all the flavor, all the meanings, the words, the word.
In the Ferm-Zilla, you added CO2, and then you had another batch without CO2.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what we've just drank here.
Okay.
Both yellow caturra, both Ferm-Zilla, one con CO2 and one sin CO2.
For checking the difference between the CO2, about the microorganisms change, because do you feel the difference?
By applying the gas, it's changing the microorganisms that present in the fermentation.
So the cherries are going into a big clear glass.
Yeah, it's a glass tank that is built. Is it built for beer?
Yeah, it's for beer. Yeah. The Ferm-Zilla
so you're taking
for beer.
Okay, so you're taking a device from a different industry, intended for a different industry, and trialing it with your coffee to see what can happen, see what the potential is.
Yeah, because there are many industries like wine, like beer. They have a lot of information, so we need to understand what things they are doing for change profiles and understand if that works for us or doesn't work. But we need to try. We need to grow. We need to create something.
Right. So this is your first year with the Ferm-Zilla.
This is the first year. Yeah.
Or pardon me, last year was the first year with the Ferm-Zilla. We're going into a new year now. Will you use the Ferm-Zilla again for the 21-22 harvest? Is this a successful experiment, or what are your thoughts on this device?
Yeah, because the Ferm-Zilla, the capacity, it's only for 50 kilos, 50 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
It's really small. So I have some plants that maybe the production was really small, like 50 kilos or 45 kilos, and the Ferm-Zilla works perfectly. For that kind of nanolots, I think it's perfect, because you have control. For small batches from coffee, it's perfect Ferm-Zilla. And maybe if I need something bigger, the Ferm-Zilla doesn't work. I need a lot of Ferm-Zilla for do something.
Right.
But works for.
So what did you taste in the difference?
I mean, they're both super sweet. They're super juicy, as you're describing these yellow caturras. I would say the one with CO2 maybe has a little bit better acidity.
With O2?
I don't know if that's a similar.
Okay.
With.
Okay, clear more.
I think in this instance, in the pour overs that we just had, I would say the one with CO2 had a slightly better acidity. The one without, still nice acidity, but maybe a little less crisp and refreshing, possibly.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this is because thanks to the form of the Ferm-Zilla, because the form is better for the fermentation versus a container, and the CO2, how do you explain that?
Circulates?
Yeah, circulates the best way. Yeah, the Ferm-Zilla like it. Maybe for this year change some things in the process, like CO2 maybe, or maybe nitrogen. I'm pretty sure that
Right.
you're testing the coffees. You're cooking that coffees, the experiments.
So you put 15 kilos of cherry into the Ferm-Zilla. What will that yield in green coffee? When you're talking, a nano lot here,
Yeah, 50
for our
kilos.
Listeners, what is a Ferm-Zilla yield?
Yeah, 50 kilos, almost 10 or 8 kilos in green coffee. Almost. It depends of the variety.
50 kilos goes in.
Yeah,
50 kilos of cherry.
50, 50.
Okay.
Yeah, 15 kilos, maybe only 3 kilos.
Very small.
Yeah,
very small.
Yeah, it's almost 5/1. It's almost, but it's the pain of the process.
So we've talked a lot about processing, and I think you're doing some really forward-thinking, cutting-edge processing. And something that I really love about your coffees is you'll break one lot, one day harvest into into 2, 3, 4 different chunks and different processes. And this is kind of the control and then the experiment that you're talking about here. But I think for me and for a lot of the people that have had the opportunity to taste your coffee, it's been a really incredible learning experience getting to taste, the same day's harvest of red Bourbon that is fermented for 3 days, for 4 days, for 5 days. And then we can taste each of those separately and see how that one variable is playing into the cup. So, from my perspective, I really admire the work that you're doing. I think it's amazing, and it's really, whether you feel it or not, I think it's advancing the industry as a whole. And give yourself a pat on the back to the innovation that is happening at La Joya. Sammy, I want to talk a little bit about your style of farming coffee, because it's not, you've talked about it a touch here, but I want to maybe spend a few minutes, because you're not doing a monocultural agriculture system, right? You're working with permaculture and you have syntropic agriculture and agroforestry, and these really interesting words that you use to describe the way that you're producing coffee. I would love to know just a little bit about what that means to you and what you think that means to your coffee plants themselves.
Yeah, thank you. I like the syntropic culture. I like the permaculture because I think the land is life, the soil is excellent element. So we need to respect the elements. We need to understand the elements. I think the best part of the farm is you can plant coffee, but you need to understand the nature, the trees, the native trees, because they are the owners of the conditions, So another reason is because we plant some difference, like avocado, lemon, or something, fruit trees or forest trees, because I would like to have all the year. I had a lot of work all year, not only coffee, more products for the people that work with us, because finally it's not a monoculture. You can plant just coffee or just orange or whatever. No, I would prefer have more harvests at year, not just one harvest of coffee, if not 5 harvests maybe, banana, avocado, coffee. That's mean more work for the people, that the people that work with me, they have work all year. One of the problems in our industry, particularly in Mexico, is the people that works in the farm maybe works once a year, once or 3 a year, because it's only the harvest. Now, when I have more products like another products, you need people all year because you need to work all the year, and the cost, you can distribute the cost for all the products that you have. Another part is you have food. I think this is the best part. You have food not only for the people, you have food for the animals, for the insects, and for all that microorganisms that is really important for keep life your soil. I think the products that when you consume some products that is origin, you are producing, you are eating something that was. I feel the difference when you eat something. It's organic. It's not only organic for the process, organic for the use. No, I feel the difference. The sweetness, the flavors, the color is really really different. So it's really I like this one.
So by having more than just coffee, more than the monocultural agricultural system, your economics on an annual basis are more feasible. You're able to keep your team members employed year round. You're able to feed, your community, and there's so many benefits to having many different crops rather than just focusing on coffee specifically and having large arid fields of coffee. What about the way that these different crops are maybe benefiting coffee? I know that, say, avocados are putting, I believe, nitrogen and phosphorus into the soil.
Yeah, for example, this is one great example. The shade, sometimes shade, when sometimes the leaves of the trees, there are the pollinizers, the pollinizers in some plants for others. It's a big community because the insects works for every tree, every fruit. So the soil, now part of this PhD of Joya is ecological, because we can see some interaction with the trees, with the coffee, with another produce. But I'm pretty sure a lot of things that are happen under the soil, because the trees are connected about this. It is always connected for bacteria, for fungus, whatever. So what happened in that is amazing because the soil is life, You feel the microclimates, many things change when you have a lot of products. Of course, sometimes, for example, for the disease or for problems like Roya or wherever, many things happen when you have a lot of trees because you have natural conditions because you need to establish a balance in your habitat. I need to remember that the coffee is not original for that forest for that so it's the best conditions are in the forest really. That you need to keep something similar for the best condition for the planet really. And another thing is you have benefits for products, for work, and for life for the people that works.
Now, I think that's all amazing. You use the word organic.
Yeah.
Organic is an interesting word in our world. Your product is not certified organic.
Oh.
However, you describe your process as organic.
It's an interesting word. You can use organic because you use some organic fertilizers or some chemicals. I use Yara, for example. It's a fertilizer commercial, but I don't use a big quantity. I do a blend with another products like less aggressive for the soil. I never use herbicides. I don't know, kill all the, I don't know, what do you say?
Pests or insects.
Yeah, I don't use. Maybe I am organic without certificate organic, but I am organic.
Is that making it harder for you or easier for you in the long run?
Sometimes it's not depend on only the one producer because we remember we have neighborhoods, they use chemical products, but you are really near. The contamination is really possible. So for do something like this, you need to be secure that all the people that is near to you, your neighborhoods, don't use that product because the wind, the rain, the people that work with you. It's a polemic topic. This is one of the challenge from our country. Chiapas is possible because the extension are bigger. No, the control is possible when your land or your is not bigger, it's more difficult because
maybe on that note, what are some struggles that you face as a coffee producer, maybe specifically in your region at your farm and within your scope that maybe consumers wouldn't think about or wouldn't expect? What's a day-to-day hardship, or is everything hard?
Yeah. I think they found the way to communicate all that part that we do. One of the hard part is communicate that what happened in our farm or in offline, communicate with the consumers what is going on, for understand the conditions and why it's happening, anything. So, I think the coffee industry is not new, no, but it's new, but it's traditional. So change that mind in the consumer. Many people told me, I like coffee that tastes like coffee. I don't know what I mean. I like coffee, I like coffee that tastes like coffee. So in Mexico, really, many years ago, just consume decaf or, soluble, or how do you say when the coffee is? Instant coffee. So now change that mind, change that is really difficult. It's part of the life. It's making teams with people like Carlos, like Jorge. It's really possible. Change that mind because we need to work like community.
Right, within Mexico. Interesting. How much of your coffee would you sell internally to Mexico, and how much would go externally? I know how much you've shipped in the past season.
The classic line, almost in Mexico, the classic line, no? The experimental line, I think the 80% outside Mexico with the forward company, and the rest is maybe with Carlos and Jorge, Julieta, and Enrique. Yeah, I think it's almost 80. This year was 80% outside Mexico and just 20%.
Okay. I think it's really fascinating. Mexico is one of the countries that actually consumes, I believe, more internally within the country than is exported. Maybe you can correct me on that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the problem that we have, not many people sell micro lots outside Mexico. Maybe it's so difficult, and it's better sell into the Mexico. Many companies have the possibility to buy that company in Mexico, like Carlos, like Jorge. It's really amazing with that.
Yeah, there's such a healthy coffee culture and specialty coffee focus within Mexico, and roasters and baristas in Mexico City and Guadalajara and Tijuana and some of the other cities. I think that's super fascinating. And personally, I really love that the culture within the country is also supporting the specialty side of the industry, and almost more so than the global market. But I think starting to change, and maybe the global market's starting to want more Mexican microlots. That's what you and I think, at least.
No,
I think it's true.
You're seeing a demand through Ford for more Mexican coffee?
Yeah. So for people listening, this year Forward Coffee has brought in all of Sammy's microlots, and they're all coming to Canada, and from Canada we'll ship them globally to Sammy's clients. And I mean, speaking directly to the Canadian market, there's, I think, a huge fan base for Samuel Ronzon, for La Joya Micro Mill. I think a lot of that has to do with your participation in social media, Sammy, and just chatting with the people that are drinking your coffee and sharing the stories that they're drinking lot 22A from Rabbit Hole, or 19B from Rogue Wave, or from wherever across the nation. I think it's been amazing seeing the dialogue from consumers, baristas, roasters, but also the fact that you're participating in that dialogue, I think, is having a huge effect on the way people are enjoying your coffee, because they have a direct line into you, which is, to go back to the beginning of the conversation, something you wanted in 1996
yeah,
when you first got into coffee is to know where it's going, and maybe you're seeing that full.
We want to talk about you, just you as a person.
Oh, oh my God.
How much coffee do you drink a day?
A lot of coffee when it's possible, because I love coffee. I need to understand coffee. So I would like to drink coffee from another farms, because I think it's the best part of understand many things. Many people give me coffees, like Pepe, like some friends. I would like to tasting their coffees. I'm pretty sure Enrique Lopez has amazing coffees. I drink a lot of coffee because I like espressos. Because I don't know why, but I like espressos better maybe because I don't understand the filters. So
if you can't drink Mexican coffee, is there another country that you really enjoy?
I like Ethiopian coffees, for example. I think it's amazing coffees. Panama, of course, is great. It's really unique. But I like African's coffee. I think it's so unique. It's so. I love it. Colombian coffee, it's great too. But maybe my favorites are the Africans. I don't know because they're very unique, very expressive. So I love it. Sometimes I try some coffee from Indonesia. It's so weird for me, but it's interesting. The wet cooling process.
Oh yes, really, really different flavor profiles.
Yeah, so different. I love stay with my family. I love farm. Yeah, I think this is one of the things that are changing. We work in the coffee. Yes, I know that, but I would like to my family know what I do in the coffee, not just me. My son come to the farm. Family need to know what is going on in the farm. I try to go with them, with my son, because maybe one of the things that will happen when I was young, the work in the coffee was a obligation. It's a responsibility. Maybe you don't enjoy that part. My son need to understand why I love the coffee. So it's very important for me that they understand that part. Now he's planting. We are planting bananas because they love bananas. For example, different kinds of bananas and they want to own our experiments because what happens if you put the banana and you put some trees? Many things they want to do. I would like to do with him, because I think it's part of this. They love mangoes. For me, in my land, it's so difficult to produce mangoes. Well, we have 3 mangoes. I don't know what happened because it's too high for the mangoes, but we love mangoes and we plant with so some mangoes, and the same for pineapples. But I think it's important for me explain to my son that it's everything is possible, but you need to work.
Would you have any advice for a coffee farmer listening to the podcast and they're just starting up their farm?
I think maybe I changed my mind when I I understand that it's a great opportunity to be a producer. When you have a land, it's really amazing opportunity. It's not it's something that you can change many lives. I don't know how to explain that, but I feel really grateful about that because we have a piece of land. It's very important. You have a piece of this amazing world. It's amazing. It's not a problem. It's not a thing. Yeah, thing. I don't know. Some people. I remember when oh my God, I need to go to the farm. Well, you have a piece of this amazing world and you can change many things. It's a big responsibility, I know that, but it's amazing. You need to enjoy that because you have the possibility to change many things. It's not only for another people, for your family. For me, it's very important to know what I'm eating today or what kind of condition my food is producing. I have the possibility to change that. If I can sharing with another people, it's amazing. But I think it's important to be proud about being a producer. I think this is important. I am really proud. It's a compromise, I know. It's a challenge too, but I enjoy it.
You do an amazing job.
Outside of coffee, what do you do for fun? What are your hobbies? We know you like coffee. We've come to gather you like coffee.
Actually, read some mangas. Mangas, anime.
Mangoes, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mountain bike? Do you fish? Do you?
The mountain bike I love. I love mountain bike. Sometimes I was practicing some canyonings. You know what's canyonings? When you do rappelling, canyoning. Okay,
Canyoneering.
canyoneering. You know,
Canyoneering. Okay. So you're climbing the waterfall.
it's amazing because it's like climbing. But it's not up. It's down. It's for down with rappel.
Very interesting. I've never tried that.
No, it's a yeah. I like it. Maybe now I don't practice, but I send some pictures. when I meet Joji, it was my job do canyoneering.
So when is the best time that we can come and visit you in Veracruz?
December to May, I think this that month, because it's the harvest, it's the center of the harvest. We have a lot of coffee in the African beds, in the fermentation, and maybe in May you can copy in the first coffees from November, December. I think this is the best part of it.
Okay, so November, December, if we want to see the harvest.
Yeah,
the first December, part. January to see the harvest.
The first part, yes, the first part of the harvest is December, January.
And for cupping, May is the best time?
Yeah, because you have more coffee. You have the first coffees like November, December coffees, and January maybe. It's really fresh, but it's the first coffees. If you come in December, maybe the coffee is really, really fresh. This is the best moment for do something, for experiment for the rest of the harvest. But for cupping coffees, you need to waiting for the coffee.
Okay, we'll start looking at our flights.
Yeah, I know. And you can come wherever you want. You need to a farm here in Mexico.
Don't say that. Cole will be down next week.
Yeah? Next week?
Free labor for you.
Okay. Do you go to Milan?
Maybe after that. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Sammy, I've got one last question for you. Is there a country or a place in the world that you would love to see your coffee served? Have you ever thought about that or considered a specific market that you'd like to be seen and recognized in?
I think Japan. I think Japan. It's very interesting for me. I think.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Okay, to all the Japanese listeners out there, you heard it here first. Samuel Ronzon is coming to Japan. We'd love to see his coffee on your shelf at your roaster or your cafe. Get it while you can.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Sammy. Thanks so much for taking the time. We
Thanks,
really
Sammy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll touch base with you in the coming days as life continues to unfold and as we book those trips down to Veracruz.
Yeah, please come here. And I would like to go to Colombia. Maybe I need to see what are doing Diego Samuel. You remember I told about the dry machine. He told me that Samuel come and I can show you all my process. I would like to know the process for the drying. I think this is the difficult part for us because the humidity is really, really high in Veracruz. And I would like to see what Diego Samuel are doing for control the humidity. I'm pretty sure informed about that. I think this is better part for drying coffees. This is the challenge for us, the drying, not the fermentation. The fermentation, it's okay, but I think the drying process is a headache.
Because of the humidity.
It's so high in Veracruz. Sometimes it's really, really high. And this is maybe it's a problem because if you don't have enough control about the humidity, the process is to be very, very slow. Sometimes it's difficult because you had a lot of coffee,
Which is interesting. I think it's great. You are very transparent in your practice, and I'm sure that's led to connecting with other producers that are very transparent in their practice. And by the sounds of it, you have an opportunity to go visit another coffee producer and potentially borrow and build on some ideas that are successes in their operation and maybe apply those into yours. With that sort of collaborative, transparent mindset, I think there's more good to be done with that sort of vision.
Okay, thank you, man.
Sammy, so where can listeners find information on you, your website, maybe your Instagram?
Yeah, my website, my new website, it's lajoya.coffee is the website.
And then we can follow you on Instagram at Ronzon Sam, and then also La Joya has its own Instagram, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The new website looks great, by the way. I know it just launched this week, I believe. It's great. There's lots of information on there. There's great photos, great transparency. It's a good educational source, and I think a good way to see everything you're doing or lots that you're doing on the ground at La Joya. So congrats on the launch of the new website.
It was a challenge to do the website because The people don't understand my idea to come. Not for sell coffee, it's for information, and this was a challenge at first. But the transparency in the coffee is very important for us, and I need to do something about. I think we have some ideas, but maybe for the next harvest we can do something for the traceability, for the age lot. I would like to know where is age lot of us. I think it's very important to know that, to show that information for the people.
And if someone's listening, where can they buy Samuel's green coffee?
So Sammy's 2020-2021 harvest is available through Forward Coffee. Any global roasters are welcome to either contact Sam at one of the places he just mentioned, or you could contact forward.coffee is the website, and you can find the full list of fresh harvest from Samuel Ronzon, and that is available to ship globally.
Thank you, man. Thank you, amigos.
Looks like you enjoyed our conversation with Samuel, and thanks for listening to By the Drip. If you could please subscribe, rate, and give us a comment, that'd mean the world to us. Till next time.